to safety. As they were taking me out, one firefighter had fallen. I believe he was having a heart attack. But before that, this big giant police officer came to me and he says, "You have to run." I said, "I can't run, my knees are swollen." He said, "You're gonna have to get on your knees and crawl in." He said, "Because we have reports of more explosions." And that's when I started crawling and I saw this guy fall behind me and his comrades came to his aid. They dragged him to safety. I was looking for an ambulance for my knees, and at that time they told me we got to walk 20 blocks to refuge. Before I got there, Eyewitness News grabbed me and started interviewing me. And that's basically it.
Now, real quick, I'd like, if possible, for you to elaborate on. Now, you originally said on ABC 7 that you got to the 8th floor, and that's where the explosion was, and that's what blew you off. And there you said you got down to the 6th floor.
Well, it was the 8th floor we got back into.
Okay.
The 6th floor is when we got down to.
Okay, so you made it all the way down from the 23rd floor all
to the
way down
6th floor.
To the 6th floor.
Right. That's when the explosion happened.
Now, where did that originate from? Did the explosion come from under you?
It was definitely under us.
It was from under you.
It definitely was under us.
Now, did it like lift you up? Is that?
Yeah, it blew us back, and then I found myself. I thought I was on a stair landing, but I wasn't. I found myself hanging on. So you want me to go into that?
If you could.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's black. You can see anything.
Right. Right.
If you could please elaborate on that.
Sure.
Just quickly.
Okay. When I made it to the 6th floor, and there was an explosion. The explosion was beneath me. Keep in mind now, it's pitch black in there. All the lights went out.
Yeah.
So when the explosion happened, it blew us back. I'm thinking I'm standing on the landing. I'm actually holding on to a pole above us.
Really?
And I had to climb back up because Hess is yelling, "What do we do now?" I said, "There's only one thing we can do, and it's go back up." So that's when we went back up to the 8th floor, and I busted out that window.
My other question was going to be, you said that you'd worked in the Office of Emergency Management since its inception in '99. Could you just tell people what the OEM was and your experiences with it, like how often you would be there, what the job of the OEM was?
Okay.
Excellent.
When the Office of Emergency Management did an activation, they always included our locale. And what they did was monitor the emergency. They actually coordinated the emergency through several agencies. And that's what we did. We were there as part of, I was there as part of one of my agencies, which I can't name.
Of course.
And we would sit there and we would do sit reports. We would get updates as far as the emergency that was on hand. And that's simply what we would do. Every agency that was involved in that emergency was there.
Okay. And that was manned 24 hours, I've heard?
When the activation, only when there was an emergency activation was that manned 24 hours. OEM was manned 24 hours without the activation. When they opened up the EOC, that was activated for as long as the emergency was going on. Once the emergency was subsided, then they would stand down.
Okay. My other question was, they had drill in preparations called tripod. Did you know anything about tripod that was down at the pier at all?
Yes,
Okay.
I was part of that.
You were part of tripod.
Yes. Discuss that at all?
Yeah. Can you discuss any aspects of tripod?
Well, the only thing I remember as tripod was we did a drill, which was supposed to be a man-made disaster, a terrorist attack, and it was supposed to be some kind of chemical. And all they did was drill. They went through the whole steps of what you would do here, if you'd come here, how you would, they went through the whole thing. And we were just we were just viewing it. We were just part of the viewers.
Okay.
That was it. We wasn't part of the actual, we would just view the individuals.
Just monitoring the results of the
And
exercise.
from media reports, we've heard that it was supposed to take place on the 12th, but preparations were before that. In other words, throughout the week, they'd been manning the separate stations. Do you know when it was actually like in progress? Because you said you'd been part of it and seen it. So obviously there was something going on before the 12th. Like, did you observe this in like the 10th, the 11th, like right prior to 9/11?
No.
No, this was after?
Yes, our participation was after.
Was after 9/11?
Yes.
Okay. Then can you just give us permission to use it? Say louder than words can use this footage.
Yes, you can use this footage.
So now you listen to a guy who actually was rescued out of Building 7. Okay? But no, you don't have to believe me, Evelyn. You don't have to believe Barry Jennings. You don't have to believe the news. You know, homework, Evelyn, why don't you do some? This is my Evelyn report. So anyway, here we go. World Trade Center 7 is about to blow up. How did they know that? It gets better because you can listen to the cops. What do the cops say? Check out, this is from 9/11. Better back away, that building's coming down. They're taking that building. That building's going to go down.
Keep your eye on that building, it'll be coming down.
Building is about to blow up. Moving back.
All right, guys? Sorry.
We are looking back. There's a building about to blow up. On flame. Debris coming down.
Just in the last few seconds, another building, building number 7, one of the buildings in support of the World Trade Center towers, has collapsed. This is no small building, as you can see, at 47 stories. It would stand out in most American cities.
So it wasn't me saying that they had foreknowledge, was it? But it's rather interesting because here we have Larry Silverstein. Larry Silverstein, I don't know him from Adam. I know that he made a $200 million investment to lease the World Trade Center, and within a couple months, actually weeks, all of a sudden he was collecting billions of dollars in insurance. Now, I'm not saying it's an insurance scam, but I did know that people placed put options on the New York Stock Exchange on American Airlines and United Airlines, and actually on a couple businesses in the World Trade who made money based on that, and it followed all the way back to the Central Intelligence Agency, Buzzy Krongard, the deputy director, but that's neither here nor there, is it, viewers? What I thought was interesting was, I'm listening, and I want you to listen, to Larry Silverstein as he says, you know what? There was such a great loss of light that we decided what?
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. I said, you know, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
Come on in. That we decided, you know, to just pull it. Yeah, we're gonna, here, I found it. Hey, I got one for this building. We're gonna pull it. How does a fire department, what does the fire department pull the building? Hey, Dennis Mann, can you pull the CVS? Hey, you know what? The Wilbur School's looking like pretty bad. Maybe you should pull it, Dennis. Hey, you know what? The community center's looking bad. Pull it, Dennis. You know, how do fire departments pull buildings, let alone get them to collapse within 6 seconds at free fall speed? Huh? You want to tell me? Come on, Dennis, pull harder. Dennis, pull. The high school's burning. We got to get rid of it. Pull it. You know, my house is burning. Better pull it. Oh, my gosh. The shed out back. It's going down. How do you know? Because I'm going to pull it. How is it that Larry Silverstein can tell you that they pulled it? Well, I'm going to pull it again. Yeah, you want to tell me how the fire department? Dennis, please come on the show. I want you to tell us how firemen can pull a building, let alone a 47-story building. So you found out that they knew about it before it was going to happen. You found out they broadcasted it was going to happen. You found the police say, get out of the area, that building's coming down, it's going to happen. You heard Larry Silverstein say, we decided to pull it, and you found out who was in the building. The CIA, the DOD, the Security and Exchange Commission, and all the files for those bankruptcies. Oh my gosh, there might have been blood on Wall Street, huh? Gets rather interesting when you find out that they can pull a building. I challenge any fire department. Hey, the Boston Fire Chief, why don't you come in and tell me how you're going to pull the Hancock building? You know, I'd love to learn that. Oh, and by the way, it was called Building 7. I know when you say, what building? Here's once again, they're running the ad in New York because they want an investigation.
I lost my son,
my nephew,
My uncle.
my son.
on September 11th, 2001.
Most people don't know that a third tower fell on September 11th.
World Trade Center 7, a 47-story skyscraper, was not hit by a plane.
Although the official explanation is that fire brought down Building 7.
Over 1,200 architects and engineers has looked into the evidence
And believe there is more to the story.
Bring justice to my son,
My uncle.
My nephew.
my son.
Go to buildingwhat.org.
Why it fell, why it matters, and what you can do.
So I'll ask you, when the survivors ask for an investigation, when architects and engineers ask for an investigation, is it wrong? When you found out there were no weapons of mass destruction and the whole 9/11 thing turns out to be not what they told you, and they're not forthcoming on the end, and 6 out of the 10 commissioners of the 9/11 Commission Report say what? that we were lied to. Were you lied to? Who benefited? Cui bono? Follow the money. Who's been making money? Rather interesting. So anyway, you want some homework, right? Yeah, I'll give you some homework. I want you to seek the truth. Try to find the truth. Wars based on lies usually don't end up being pretty good for the people that start them. Remember the Gulf of Tonkin? That's right, the Vietnam War came out 40 years later. Our ships were never attacked in the Gulf of Tonkin. It's declassified now, but I'm sure many of you probably don't have time to find that out. 50,000 Americans died. 250,000 Americans were wounded, lost arms, legs, eyes, ears. Millions of Vietnamese on both sides died based on a lie known as the Gulf of Tonkin incident. It's declassified. There was never a U.S. destroyer attacked. Yet now, we're now teaching people what? Muslim hatred. Didn't it seem funny to you that that whole mosque thing turns out to be a CIA operation? I know you don't want to believe me. What you need to do is go to it's not the New York Post, but the New York Daily Observer. It just came out this Sunday. Oh my gosh, it's a CIA thing. And it's funny because the guy doing the mosque, which is Family Center mosque thing at Ground Zero, he's a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, goes to their meetings. Yeah, that ties him to the Rockefeller UN CIA thing, huh? And boy, who benefits from that? Now you got the guy down in Florida, I'm going to burn a Koran. And you got our defense secretary or whatever, or what's his name, one of the generals, Petraeus, going, this might be bad for our troops. Like attacking someone's country is not bad for the troops. You know, like killing them innocent civilians isn't bad for the troops. But burning a Koran. Who? Isn't it funny how it crosses over from build a mosque at Ground Zero to burn a Koran to keep this all going right around 9/11? And for you family members here in Sharon who dedicated the clock, and also now from what I understand the post office, maybe you want to type in words like nanothermite into your search engine and find out you can't make it in a bathtub and you don't make it in a cave. Yet in 6% of the mass of the dust from the World Trade Centers was iron spheres, spherical balls of iron that had what chemical makeup in them? Nanothermite? Wow, isn't that a military explosive? Who has access to nanotechnology, let alone to make thermite? So when you have 1,200, almost 1,300 architects and engineers wanting a new investigation, the family members asking them for a new investigation, maybe even the people in Sharon who lost loved ones will ask for a new investigation. Maybe they're tired of being lied to. Maybe they're okay with the lie. Maybe they just want to put that chapter behind them. But me, I want the truth. I can take it. May not be good, but I can take it. I hope you can too, because with the truth, okay, the truth will set you free. Then maybe this police state that's being created, where you have to show your children's genitals before they get on a plane, maybe all that can go away and we can start we can unite the people, not separate them, not cause division. That was the Romans, right? Divide and conquer. Don't you see it? Don't you Jewish people in Sharon see how they're teaching you to hate Muslims? Don't you see it? It's the same thing over by the same people. The same exact people that funded Hitler. They're funding this. Don't be used. It's no time to be a schmuck or whatever, schmagegi, whatever you want to call the term of, a Jewish person who's being used. Think for yourself. Follow the money. And when people ask you what building, say Building 7. I want to know about Building 7. And with that, I'll say God bless you. God bless this republic. And down with the New World Order.
Why is there a third beam in the New York City evening skyline? The architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth, NYC Can, Building What, and Barbara Honegger have come together to create what we feel is a strong statement of awareness for the third skyscraper to collapse at near freefall acceleration symmetrically, which is obviously with explosives on 9/11. We are trying to wake up the American people. We put a third beam into the sky on 9/11 so that all of New York can wake up. Building 7 is the smoking gun. It's the key to justice for the victims of the destruction of the Twin Towers.
question is, will they kill untold millions as they did in the last century? It is not the elite cockroaches that determine that. It is you.